Good morning. Really appreciate everyone being here on Labor Day holiday, and we're very excited about getting the win last week. Um, had a chance to watch the film, and a lot of positives to build on. Obviously, being at home in front of our crowd, I mentioned after the game, it's a huge thing, and it gets better with each home game. So we're excited about that. But a lot of the positives, I thought both sides of the ball, offense and defense, good enough on third down. Defense really is doing a good job there. Offensively, I think there's some things there. On third down, that was very positive for us. We continue to play double-digit numbers in the D-line. Depth-wise will be huge, which I'll talk about here going down to our next opponent in Florida. Offensively, CJ and Parker played well, managed the game very well. Some bright spots from both those guys, and we're going to need them. Mason Williams, Bryce Houston got around almost 30 snaps each in the tight end position, with Tyler Foster being out. And Chase Hendricks, the receiver, true freshman, got his first start, and you're going to see him throughout the course of the year. So a lot of positives coming off the game. A couple things that we've got to do better. The turnovers, we can't have them, and we've got to get touchdowns in the red zone. If we've got to continue to show improvement there. The depth that we're able to with where we're at, particularly on defense, I think will be huge as we go on the road to FAU. Quality program. Tom Herman, known him for a long time. Great offensive background, great schematically, a lot of RPO stuff. FAU reminds me a lot of us. Their last year's football team reminded me of us 2 years ago. They had a 1-point loss, a 2-point loss, 2 3-point losses. Last year, one of those 3-point losses was us on the road. I think they were 4-2 at home. We're going to their place. They return probably more guys than we do. I think 8 on defense. Their best player on defense didn't play a snap against us. He was injured. He was first team all league. And then they on offense, their offensive line, all 5 guys that started at least one game, and they return running back and the receiver positions. Got a couple transfers at tight end. And then the quarterback, Casey Thompson, I'm very familiar. He's from Oklahoma. I personally recruited him out of high school. We were on one of his first offers, I believe. And he has found his way to FAU, and he's very, very talented. So we are familiar. I'm particularly me. And he can create with his feet. And, of course, he and Coach Herman were together at Texas. So I'm sure schematically that's a pretty good fit. So it should be a whale of a matchup, and we'll have to play well on the road. But we are looking forward to taking the momentum from our first win and going on the road. And we're gonna have to win on the road. And so again, we're gonna prepare one at a time and get going. I'd like to on last week's game. Sarah just shared with me that Bryce Houston was MAC East Player of the Week on defense, and CA was on offense. So I think obviously those 2 awards show how well they did in last week's game, and they did. So we want to build on all of that. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
All right, please introduce yourself before I ask you first question.
Eric Deck with the Athens Messenger. Coach, obviously things can change from day to day, but as of today, what's kind of the update on the quarterback situation?
Yeah, you bet. Several updates, really. But we haven't, with the holiday, have not had a chance to meet with our training staff. Has not had a chance to meet with any of our injury guys yet. That'll take place this afternoon. And really, the holiday's got nothing to do with it. That's when they do it. Normal protocol. But I think that I said it last Monday. We're on schedule for those guys to practice and play Saturday. Now, I said it last week and it changed, and so that could happen. I don't anticipate it, but it's that's what it is on not only Curtis, but all the guys that have been out, you could say the same thing. And so I'll leave it at that. You bet.
Bobby Keegan with the Post. So kind of on Saturday in your post-game press conference, you kind of touched on bringing Pete in with you on the plane to Florida. So could you kind of elaborate on that and how you guys plan to do that this year?
Yeah, I think just get a mindset. It's a psyche. We got to finish it and get the things done that we want to this year. We got to have a mindset of win on the road, and we were close to San Diego State, and we've got to find a way to do that. So we're not gonna cut a piece and take it with us, but we've got to have a mindset of like we do at home.
Bobby Gorber from the Post. Have you had a chance to watch FAU's Week 1 game? I think they put up 42 points. Have you thought of anything, defensively on how you're going to handle that sort of offensive attack?
Well, as I said earlier, they return most everybody on offense. I think it's maybe 7 or 8 guys. I know the quarterback's new, but with Casey coming from Texas through Nebraska with Coach Herman, they're familiar. So I'm going to count their quarterback as a returner based on that relationship. But a lot of RPOs will be challenged in the back end with the run pass thing. Again, Casey can create. So if you get pressure and you miss a tackle, he can hurt you, or he can slide, dip in the pocket and get the ball off. The running back's talented, and he's capable of catching the ball, running the ball. Again, don't quote me on this. I think he had over 100 yards against us last year, maybe if I remember correctly. And it was a barn burner down to the wire. So, hey, we return guys. They return a lot of guys. They're at home this year, so we've got to find a way to raise the bar, go on the road, and have to play our best game to have a shot.
Coach Aiden Crowley with WAB, we kind of mentioned the complexity of FAU. How important are guys like Bryce and Key in this matchup who are familiar with this sort of team who played last year, obviously?
Bryce and Key are always important, regardless of the matchup. But they've got a wealth of experience at the linebacker spot. I love their intensity. I mean, they're the 2 ringleaders. Bryce with this week's award, but they'll have to play their game. We don't have to play above and beyond, but we're going to have to do our best with mistakes. Not panic if they get an explosive play offensively versus us on defense. We're going to have to adjust and limit that. But the good old thing of finding a way to run the ball and not have turnovers and get a couple, that's going to be the best formula to get it done.
You mentioned kind of some of the injuries kind of getting healed up and returns. Speaking on the wide receiver room, looking at the film now, what did you just think of that group's performance? You have Tyler Walton with 4 catches for 36 yards, and 7 other people with a catch. So overall, what did you think of the receiving game?
It's exciting. I think that Tyler Walton, what he's been through, basically missed 2 years with 2 different surgeries, and that's tough to go through. So I'm so proud of him. O'Shawn, Key Thompson. We got a couple guys that had that. Kurt Daniker. It's a traumatic thing, and Tyler to have this start, we could see it coming because he had a great fall camp, and I've told him multiple times in fall camp, and I'll say, buddy, you're having a great fall camp. Keep it up. It's going to show when we get going, and that's where we're through 2 games. That's where we're at. But he is back to Tyler in particular. He's played a numerous amount of snaps for us. He is tough. He's played injured. He catches the ball over the middle. He can stretch you vertical, and just an intense competitor to the point where you're trying to, hey, calm down a little bit. But with Tyler in the room and hopefully get a couple guys back in the receiver room, it will continue to be a group that we can count on throughout the course of the year.
And then, Coach, just kind of branch off of that a little bit. Obviously, a lot of moving parts on Saturday. How important was that experience on that side of the ball? Guys like Sam, guys like Jacoby. How important are they in kind of getting back up to speed and everything? But just their presence when there's a lot of moving parts, just kind of be a calm.
Yeah, they again, I didn't pay attention, didn't see a lot of it, but just talking with Sammy and Jacoby prior to the game, and Curtis, you know, it just those guys being around in between series absolutely helps, absolutely. And I'm going to throw Tyler in there because Tyler has, you know, he's got probably more snaps than Sammy and Jacoby, you know, and has been here the same as Curtis, maybe a year longer, you know. So he's, I mean, he was playing in a game, of course, but those guys that I mentioned can help Chase Hendricks, can help Armani Rome, can help Mason Williams. You know, Tyler Foster was when he was on the sideline helping Mason Williams, true freshman at tight end. Bryce Butler at tight end. So it was good to be at home because on the road you would not be able to travel all those guys to do that. But being at home, we're able to do that, and it was helpful.
Coach, I'll throw a general one in there for you. With your skill position guys starting to get a little bit healthy, I know Sam was out last week, but as your skill position guys start to get healthy, how do you balance finding ways to get all of those guys the ball and get them the touches that they need to really make an impact?
Well, to be honest with you, we have not been in that situation yet. You know, with Jacoby not playing that first one, and then one's, you know, Tyler being out, Sam, Jacoby out this last one. It's just, hey, it's manage the game and hey, who's making the tackle? Let's play action. Let's be smarter on third down. So hasn't really come up. It will once if we get those guys back, and again, hopefully we do. But I think I referenced it maybe early. There's only one ball. You got a duo combination, and with CA and O'Shawn in the backfield, and you got Curtis, and you got tight ends, and you got receivers. So it's a good problem to get to, but we haven't had to really face it yet because of where we're at injury wise. And I hope that you can ask me that question again next week, and because it's happening, I guess.
I kind of want to ask, conditioning-wise, it was a hot one on the field last week. You're going down to Florida. I know it's a 6 p.m. kickoff, so later in the night it won't be as much of a factor. But how do you just think the team responded in that aspect of the game?
It was a thing that we had talked about throughout the course of the week, looking at the temperatures going into the game. I said, hey, the second half in particular is going to be warm. You know, really, the kickoff time was beneficial. You know, pregame at 11, noon wasn't there yet. But I said, hey, coming out of halftime, it's going to be different than what you felt. You know, our training staff did a phenomenal job. The guys did a great job. Didn't have really a lot of cramping, but we played a lot of guys. Our training staff, Matthias, I mentioned, hey, it's going to just help us down the road with a future schedule. FAU, the humidity, regardless if you're playing at 6, is still going to be high, and that's where you can have some cramping. Watching the game via the FAU's opener, there was some cramping going on from the opponent from Mammoth. We could tell off of film. So nothing we can do about it. We've got to just make sure that we continue to be disciplined with our hydration and play guys, and just have a mindset that we got to find a way.
Another general one on the schedule. First time in Florida since, I believe, the 2013 Beef O'Brady's Bowl. You've got guys on this roster that are from right down there. From a scheduling philosophy and getting down there to play, what does a game like this do for you? And potentially, will we see more games down in Florida in the future?
We do have 5 or 6 guys on the roster, you know, and I think all of them are start or contribute a lot, you know. And I just saw Roman getting off the elevator. He's super excited, you know, and hopefully we get Torrey back with some more meaningful reps, without mentioning all the guys. But I think from a recruiting standpoint, we have a presence down there. Maybe not as much as we do within our tank of gas here in Athens, you know. I think 75% of our roster is within 5 hours. That's fair. But we are in Florida, and the guys that we do have on our roster have meaningful snaps for us, and I think I'm excited for them. I know Joey Abernowski's, talking with his mom. She had mentioned to Coach Rudolph that, she's going to be at the game and she's excited. So I'm happy for Joey, man. It's a feel good thing for sure.